Hey, I'm Kevin.
Easy here.
We're back with another episode, and this is one of my favorites. This is the
BMW 1M 118 by Minichamps.
Yes, it is, and not to be confused with the M1. This is an awesome model. I'm really looking forward to it. Interesting tidbit of information though. When I bought this car, EC was at the shop with me. We're checking it out. I love the 1M. It's one of my all-time favorite cars, so I wanted to get it for sure. We inspected it. Everything was great. Brought it home. What was wrong?
Somebody didn't realize that this only has opening doors.
Yeah, I was actually looking forward to seeing the hood and the trunk, but you know how they always strap them in, so I didn't bother to open it up. And the shut lines actually look really realistic, so I thought they'd open, but no, it's just opening doors.
Right. So yeah, you can imagine the moment where we were desperately trying to find a way to open up the hood and the bonnet to find it was all sealed.
It's a facepalm moment. Yes. All right, let's move on.
Yes. Right, so to the front of the 1M. Now, I'm just going to come out of the blocks and I'm going to say that this is not a great model for the money, right? So, I mean, in terms of what I like in the front details, the lower lip spoiler, the front lip spoiler, I think the shape was pretty unique.
Yeah.
For the 1M and all the other M cars, but everything else, dude, I'm not sure about it. The headlamp details are immensely plasticky. There's no meshing. There's an unbelievably, I can't even believe Minichamps got away with this. It's a solid blank piece of plastic in one of the front antics. So yeah,
I was prepared for that. I knew EC was gonna attack me on this model. I mean, it's a Minichamp, so we can't expect Auto Art signature quality. Not even Auto Art Millennium quality, because for the money, this is much cheaper.
No, it's not much cheaper.
Yeah,
it's a bit cheaper.
It is much cheaper on eBay and stuff. It's cheaper. And I think the reason I got this model, despite all the flaws that EC mentioned, for example, the kidney grills, you can't see through them. Neither can you see through the mesh grill, although they did do the honeycomb structure. This is actually just a hole, I think, on the real car, right? I'm not sure what's here on the real car, but this doesn't look right. And for the headlamps, like you mentioned, there is depth to it, as in you can see the xenon bulbs and everything, but the lens, but it definitely lacks detail. That's not what it's supposed to look like. But for the badge placement, license plate, all the little details, like the headlamp washers, they're all decently done. And the main thing is, the only other person who made 1M would be GTS, and that's sealed. So faced with that dilemma, you don't really have much of a choice of what to buy. If you really wanted 1M, this is it.
True. I mean, okay, I agree to that final point. The BMW emblem, all these bits are nice, but I still stand by the fact that this model is not too far off the pricing of a full-blown Auto Art. But okay, it's...
Well, okay, so on that point, did Auto Art make this one?
No, Auto Art didn't make this.
Is there another one you could get other than a GTS?
No, there is not.
See?
But that's the thing, I'm not a BMW fanboy.
Okay. I see what you're getting at. This is, I would admit that it's not a great model, but there's really no choice. If you want a 1M, this is kind of it.
The color's nice.
Yeah, the color's nice. It's accurate to the real car. Okay, all right, let's move on. All right, moving on to the side of the 1M. I think the first thing that stands out to me are the rims. I mean, these are gigantic rims. And the thing is, with most of our models, we can sort of say whether the proportions are right or not. But because the actual car is actually not really proportionate. I mean, it's kind of a caricature of a car with the flared arches, the giant wheels on such a small car, that it's hard to actually say whether this is accurate to the real car or not. But from what I see, the rotors, the calipers, the rims, everything looks pretty good. Downsides, I mean, another thing it would be the carbon fiber side mirrors. Those look good. The paint on the window trim, I think they're trying to simulate the satin finish, which is just silver paint here, so that's not really well done. But otherwise, the handles, even the side grille here with the M logo, all looks good. What do you think?
Standout feature for me is the door handle.
Oh my god, you're being overly harsh today.
The door handle is so much
God.
depth, it's a separate piece.
Oh
no,
my
okay,
God, yes.
rims, I think the Minichamps did the rims very well, right? Not to mention the rear rim is actually more dished than the front. I think that's good. The cross drill.
Wait, are they?
Yeah. The rear rim is actually slightly more dished than the front.
Okay,
Yeah.
we'll debate that off camera.
Okay, the disc brakes are okay. Calipers, I would have thought there would have been a BMW emblem somewhere, but I don't think I see it.
But we don't know whether on the real car there
Yeah,
is.
maybe it's not that, but I would be surprised if they didn't have it. I think just to your earlier point, the wheels look a bit too big for me. I think it's slightly off scale in my opinion. I don't think the carbon fiber printing on the the side mirror caps, the window caps, right? I don't think that's particularly good. It's a Minichamps thing, I think. I don't think they do this carbon fiber printing as well as auto art. In my opinion. I'm not sure. Is this, if this is a satin finish, then that's fine. Because I would have thought it would be chrome as well.
No, I would have thought it'd be Shadowline because it's such a high performance car.
Shadowline is a black trim.
Yeah, correct. I would have thought that the 1M in the real car was a Shadowline, not a satin finish. I was quite surprised. If it's chrome, that'd be even weirder because that's usually on the luxury models.
Yeah, I think it would look better if it was all black. The fenders, I think Minichamps captured the stance well, and I think plus points as well for the tiniest little emblem, M emblem on the front wing. But yeah, I mean, in conclusion, I'm just not sure about the proportion of the rims to the body.
Okay. Well, on the real car, it kind of looks funny too, though.
Yeah, it's a bit overtired. I mean, overwheeled, but I'm just not sure to this extent.
All right, we'll get more into it later. All right, let's move on.
Yeah. So on the back of the 1M, I think it's a very similar theme to what we saw on the front. The tail lamps, a very similar design. There is something that looks like a ball, but I think it's just a very bland piece of plastic. So that to me is a bit disappointing. The tailpipes are so-so. I can't really tell if there's proper carbon fiber work on the rear splitter. If not, it might just be a piano black finish. In all fairness, right, I think again the Minichamps managed to capture the fenders, the flat fenders quite well, and the emblems look good as well. Yeah.
Oh my God, you're seriously harsh with this model. I mean, for everything you said though, most of what you said I agree with, except for the piano black bit because it is carbon fiber on the top and bottom.
Oh, yeah, no, I was actually referring to the...
Oh, the diffuser.
Sorry, the rear diffuser,
yeah, that I don't know. Probably on the real car is probably just glossy black plastic, I'm guessing.
Maybe.
I think the tailpipes are pretty well done. They look like metal, not plastic. There's a lack of detail and depth on the lens, like you mentioned. For me, the M badge is really disappointing because this should be chrome, not a piece of silver decal. Yeah, on the real car.
Okay, you would know that better than I do.
And also the decal, I mean, it looks fine, like the front, it's good, but it's not realistic like what we see on auto art models, even Millennium models. Third brake light's fine. I think what they really got right, like you said, is the proportions, the stance. Because, I mean, you could have the car with all the best details or anything. If the stance and proportions aren't right, it's just not going to do it.
Yep.
But yeah, let's move on.
Sure.
Okay, moving on to the interior. Unfortunately, there's not much saving grace here. First off, initial impressions are just looking at the door sill. I think a tear is rolling down my eye because this is no longer the M car, it's the W. So it's the W1 apparently, or the W1.
It's
but okay,
all the way down here.
Yes.
This bit, they stuck it upside down, right?
yeah, on both sides. So we have a W. It's consistent at least. Okay, moving on. I think the red contrast stitching is great on the real car, but on this car, it's like someone drew dashed lines. So
it's little red caterpillars all over the car.
Not great. The same dashed lines appear on the door cards as well. And in general, everything looks very plasticky, which isn't great. Small details which auto art would get right would be the M emblem on the steering wheel. It's way too big here. The decals and everything else looks fine. Aircon vents, gear knob, iDrive selector, they're all fine, but they're not great. Like, it could be so much better with the play on textures and the correct materials, but everything's just shiny plastic. The only thing that really they did pretty well in getting accurate is the pedals. The texture on the pedals is accurate to the real BMW car, which is cool. I think I'll stop now before more tears roll down my eyes. So you may continue.
If I may draw
Yes.
your attention to the gear lever in this
Yes.
model, does it not look like something that's stuck in cement?
Yeah, there's a more like some gooey. Yeah, gooey.
It's like, it looks like the whole leather base looks like
Yes,
a
I
bit of
know.
plasticine. There's no flocking as
Oh
well.
yeah, true. I was gonna mention that. I forgot.
No flocking, like you said, very plasticky. We get a separate shot of the front seats and even the rear seats. It's like shiny,
Yeah.
cheap
Put
plastic.
too much leather conditioner on the seats. That's probably why.
And I'll try and get an additional shot of this, but okay, you're a BMW fanboy, and you know that BMWs always have these floor-mounted accelerator pedals, right? The throttle
Yep.
pedal. This has that, although the throttle pedal is basically stuck up like at a 90-degree angle.
I see.
You need to have a really flexible ankle to operate this car.
Okay, I didn't look at that really carefully, but I'm curious now to see it.
But yeah, I think everything else, like what you said, is mediocre.
Okay,
interior.
cool. Let's move on.
So, conclusion time for
Oh
the
boy, can't wait to hear the score you're gonna get.
Minichamps BMW 1M. Okay, these are my thoughts, right? Again, I'm gonna bang on the price point because I know you believe, and this is true, it's cheaper than most auto arts, but then as we saw in our recent visit to our local dealer, you actually can get full-blown proper Millennium Auto Arts full opening for around the same price that you had paid for this particular model. That's one thing that I think.
Okay.
Second thing is that in terms of all of the execution, not to mention the lack of an opening bonnet and an opening boot, but the details that we've seen, in terms of the lights and whatnot and the scale. And one last thing as well, which we had discussed before off the camera, is that this doesn't seem to be a proper 118 model.
Yeah, it looks a bit like a 117.
Yeah, it's actually slightly bigger, and I think we should pull in another model just as a comparison, maybe like the M2 or something like that.
Or if I ever get a 1M GT Spirit.
Oh yeah, if you
Yeah.
ever do that, right? Yeah, exactly. And we could do a proper comparison. So all of that being said and done, now take it from me. I like the 1M.
Yeah.
I respect what it is, and I would love to have one. But
Yeah.
I'm judging this purely as a model. It's a 5 out of 10 for me.
Wow, that's better than I thought. I thought you were gonna be really mean and give it like a 3 or.
No.
So,
I
okay.
think it's still okay.
Okay, well, you know how I give my ratings is based on a few factors. So
Yeah.
not just the quality, but the price and availability. By availability, I mean the other brands that would make this. So your choices would be GT Spirit and Minichamps.
Yeah.
I don't think Paragon, iScale, and the other BMW.
They didn't do the
Yeah,
1M.
they didn't do this
No.
anyways. And if you compare the Minichamps quality of this one to Paragon, which is making a lot of the BMWs, this is probably better
Sure.
than Paragon models or iScale. For all those reasons and the pitfalls, especially with the interior, which is quite unforgivable. I mean, you should have flocking in a collectible model, period. This is a Maisto and whatnot. So I would give it a 6.5. Yeah, 6.5 out of 10. The 0.5 is probably because the color and everything. Look at it when you're viewing this on YouTube and whatnot. Look at it though. If you're not looking at it up close, it really looks great. It has presence in my display cabinet. Looks great. It's just that when you get up close, it just really disappoints.
0.5 is because he's a BMW fan.
No, I'm being very fair here. If not, I would have given it like 7.5 or something. But yeah, I think, what else? Do you have anything else?
No, that's it, right? So I guess that concludes our review. Let us know what you think. Right? I think this is a pretty polarizing model.
Yeah.
In terms of opinion. Do pop your comments in. And as usual, if you have commented before, if you've just subscribed, thank you very much. If you like what you see, do subscribe because me and Kev will be working on new material as we go along.
Yep, and give us your feedback. Do you think we're bickering too much and talking too long? Should we do shorter videos? Let us know what you think so we can fine tune our videos to, make them better.
Yes.
Right.
So, fine. Until next time, guys. It's been Hands on Diecast. Take care.
Bye bye.